Hey guys, today we're working on lesson 1-4, and that is using the tiling pattern to find area. Alright, now let's say we have a box that measures 1 foot by 1 foot. Let's say it's part of the floor. A part of the floor that's measured 1 foot by 1 foot. And we will say Isaac, he's the first 5th grader that popped into my head. Isaac, he wants to cover the floor, that piece of floor, with tiles that are 1/3 of a foot. Okay, and the question is, how many tiles will he need to cover that section of the floor? So what we do to solve this problem is, first, because we're going in 1/3 foot chunks, we need to break this 1 foot piece along the bottom into 3 pieces, because that's our denominator. Okay, now I'm just going to take those lines and draw them all the way up. So I broke that into 1, 2, 3 thirds. Okay. Now, since the tiles are 1/3 by 1/3, I'm going to take this piece and also break it into 1/3 pieces. Okay. Now each tile is 1/3 of a foot by 1/3 of a foot. Okay. The question was, how many tiles do we need? So we just need to go through and count all the tiles. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So to cover that 1 foot by 1 foot section, we would need 9 tiles. Let's try another one. We'll say that this 1 foot by 1 foot section of floor, we want Eli to cover that section of floor with 1 foot or 1/4 of a foot tiles. Okay, so instead of breaking it into thirds like last time, we're going to break it into fourths. So again, I'm going to break the bottom into fourths. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 across, and I'm going to break the sides into 1/4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the last step is to go through and count all the tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So we would need 16 tiles to cover that 1 foot by 1 foot area with 1/4 of a foot tiles. Okay, and again, what that means is that one of these squares measures 1/4 of a foot by 1/4 of a foot. So this is my dog Sailor, and we're going to use the next problem, or we're going to use Sailor to help us solve the next problem. I'll just leave her pick up here because she's so cute. Alright, so Sailor has a dog bed, and if you couldn't tell from the picture, that girl loves to nap, so we want to make her dog bed nice and comfy. So her dog bed is 2 1/3 feet wide by 3 feet long. I, Mrs. State, want to make a quilt for Sailor's bed to make it nice and comfy. Using pieces of fabric, we're going to call them fabric tiles, that measure 1/3 of a foot on each side. The first question that we're going to answer is, how many fabric tiles will Mrs. State need to make the quilt? We're going to use a picture to help us. We know that the dog bed is 2 1/3 feet wide. Oops, sorry. By 3 feet long. And the first part of the question asks, how many fabric tiles will Mrs. State need to make the quilt? Okay, so first of all, we need to know that each fabric tile measures 1/3 of a foot. Okay, right now our quilt, our dog bed, is more than 1 foot long and more than 1 foot wide, which means we need to break this first into 1 foot pieces. So I'm going to use a different color. I'm going to use blue. I'm going to break it into 1 foot pieces. Okay? That's not very even, sorry. I know that each of these pieces equal 1 foot because my total feet on this side is 3. Which means if I break it into 3 pieces, each of those pieces is now 1 foot. Now across the bottom, it's 2 1/3 feet. So first I'm going to break it into 2, and then I'm going to add my third on. Man, sorry, I need to draw a straight line. Okay. Alright, if you notice, I broke this one and this one into bigger chunks than the next one. Than this one, and that's because it was 2 1/3 feet wide. So here's my 1 plus 1, that equals my 2 holes, and there's my 1/3. So this one's only 1/3 of a foot. So now I have 2 1/3 feet wide and 3 feet long. Now the next step is to figure out how many fabric tiles I will need to make the quilt. Remember, each fabric tile is 1/3 of a foot. Well, since this is 1 foot long, that means I need to break those into thirds. So now each of those little pieces is 1/3 of a foot. This also is 1 foot long, so I'm going to break that into thirds. This is 1 foot long, so I'm going to break that into thirds as well. Okay, now I have my 1/3 foot going the long way, and I need to make the width 1/3. Okay, so this is a 1 foot section, which means I'm going to break it into thirds. This is a 1 foot section, which means break it into thirds. And this one is already a 1/3, so I don't have to do anything to that piece. Okay, the next step to figure out how many fabric tiles I'll need is to just count them. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to count the whole thing. When I'm done counting, I had 63 tiles. Our next question is, how many fabric tiles will Mrs. State need to make the quilt? Sorry, we already answered that. The next question is, how many fabric tiles does it take to cover 1 square foot? Alright, so 1 square foot is going to be a 1 square by 1 square chunk. Or 1 foot by 1 foot chunk. So right here, this is 1 foot wide. I'll use the highlighter instead. This is 1 foot wide by 1 foot in length. So we just need to figure out how many tiles it took to cover that square foot. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do you see how I got that? Those 9 square tiles? I went 1 foot by 1 foot. We are down to our last question. What is the area of Sailor's quilt in square feet? Now there's 2 ways that we can solve this. First, we go 1 square foot by 1 square foot, which right here is 1 square foot by 1 square foot. Right here is 1 foot by 1 foot. Again, it's 1 foot long by 1 foot wide. Here's 1 foot by 1 foot. Here is 1 foot by 1 foot. Here's another 1 foot by 1 foot. Here's another 1 foot by 1 foot. So far I have 6 square feet because I have 6 squares, but we know that 1 square foot is the same as 9 tiles. So if I count how many I have left over here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So those 9 together that I'm shading in right now is the same as 1 square foot. So now if I go back and count, I have 1 square foot, 2, 3, 4 square feet, 5, 6, and this one counts as 1. So I have 7 square feet. Okay, that's one way you can find it, by putting them in groups of 9. Or the other way that you can find the answer is take our total number of tiles, which was 63, and divide that by our 1 square foot, which was 9. Okay, and 63 divided by 9 equals 7. Good luck on your assessment today, guys.